Action is the foundational key to all success. Command your thoughts. Command your fortune. Close your eyes and listen. There is a furnace inside you hotter than the heart of any star, waiting for the smallest spark of conviction to ignite a destiny the world has never seen. Picture the first stroke of dawn, darkness retreating like an army of doubts, sunrise advancing like an undeniable truth, and realize this is the story of your mind every morning. Your first thought is the dawn. If it is dim, your day stays twilight. If it blazes mountains bow. You have spent years looking outward for permission, validation, and salvation. Yet the real kingdom is inward. Thought is its monarch belief, its scepter, discipline, its law. Until you sit upon that throne and decree the terms of your own consciousness, life will hand you scraps instead of crowns. So declare it now. I command my thoughts. Say it aloud. Feel the vibration carve new neural pathways. That sentence is the key that unlocks every vault labeled impossible. Imagine Thomas Edison pacing a soot-stained laboratory floor at 3 in the morning, eyes burning, every experiment failing like a cosmic joke. Had he accepted that joke, the night would have stayed long and the world would have remained dark. But he gripped a single thought. There is a way, and fed it to the flame until it roared into the incandescent bulb. That bulb was not merely glass and filament. It was thought made manifest. Your ideas are no different. They too wait for the courage of decision. What occupies the throne room of your inner kingdom? Is it the wandering minstrel of distraction, luring you with endless songs of trivial comfort? Or is it the armored general of focused intention marching you toward dominion over circumstance? History does not record excuses. It records results etched by those who disciplined their thinking until every neuron became a trumpeter of purpose. Focus on a single breath. Feel its arrival. Feel its departure. In that cycle lies an eternal truth. What you allow in determines what you release. Inhale, possibility. Exhale, limitation. Do it again. This is not poetic fluff. It is neurological conditioning. Gratitude and expectation flood the brain with dopamine and norepinephrine. Sharpening perception, accelerating learning, priming. Every cell to seize opportunity. Cortisol and despair do the opposite, turning the mind into a maze of self-sabotage. Choose your chemistry. Choose your life. The first law of fortune is awareness. You cannot command what you do not observe. Lincoln envisioned a united nation before Gettysburg etched it in blood. Carnegie saw steel towers touching clouds before a single beam was raised. You must become the cartographer of your mental continent map. The deserts of procrastination, the swamps of fear, the mountains of ego. Name them, tame them, then chart routes of boldness, curiosity, and relentless execution. Awareness without belief is a lamp without oil. Belief is not superstition. It is alchemy. When Napoleon Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve," he was not reciting folklore. He was reporting laboratory results from Carnegie Ford and every titan who bent reality with vision. Belief is the lever. Give it a fulcrum of purpose, and it will lift the world. Build a mind that obeys you. Morning journaling. Meditative stillness, focused reading. These are your forge and anvil. Each ritual hammers raw intention into steel resolve. Skip the ritual and rust creeps in until your sword of purpose snaps in the first skirmish of the day. Remember, failure is a mason laying bricks of experience so you can build higher. Faint purpose is a termite hollowing the structure from within. Starve the termite, feed the mason. Commanding thought begins with clarity. Vagueness is the mother of anxiety. Specificity is the father of momentum. Define the target and the arrow guides itself mid-flight. Write goals in verbs, not wishes. Build craft, serve, earn, heal, elevate. Then seal them with a why, so electric that the how becomes pilgrimage rather than chore. Clarity demands you prune the garden. Weeds of distraction sprout instantly in digital soil. Every notification is a pickpocket, stealing the coins of concentration. Turn them off. Replace scrolling with studying. Replace gossip with strategizing. Replace comparison with creation, because comparison is counterfeit inspiration. It kidnaps you into someone else's narrative. Creation liberates you into authorship of your own. 2. The power of unbreakable self-discipline. Your mind is a wild stallion, magnificent, yet untamed, capable of galloping toward unimaginable horizons or bolting toward every fleeting distraction. Imagine for a moment a riderless horse on a cliff's edge, heart-pounding muscles coiled free, but doomed because freedom without direction ends in chaos. Self-discipline is the bridle that channels raw power into purpose, the reins that guide instinct into achievement. Without it, brilliance becomes smoke and ambition dissolves in the wind. With it, you become the master of your own destiny. Consider Henry Ford, expelled from schools for lack of promise, yet unshakably committed to his vision of a motor car for every family. He did not wait for permission or perfect conditions. Day after day, he rose before dawn, drew up blueprints, tightened nuts, tested engines, and rewrote failure into innovation. Discipline was his silent partner, stubborn, tireless, non-negotiable. It whispered, "Do it when desire waned, when excuses knocked." That whisper became a roar that built assembly lines and drove cars into every garage. You too can summon that roar. Discipline begins in the trenches of habit. It is not heroic drama, but tiny acts repeated until they become automatic rituals. The warrior who trains every morning at 5 a.m., even when the body begs for sleep, writes chapters of triumph before the world wakes. The entrepreneur who jots down 3 priorities before coffee, alights the brain, stokes clarity and purpose at sunrise. These micro-commitments forge neural pathways of consistency so deep that even fatigue cannot reroute them. Choose one ritual today, one definitive action that demands self-control, and watch its compound effect carve mountains out of obstacles. Yet self-discipline is more than routine. It is the fire that steels your character in adversity. When Henry Carnegie lost his first steel mill to flood and ridicule, he could have retreated into despair. Instead, he saw the wreckage as a crucible. He rebuilt, redesigned, and returned stronger. The flood baptized him in humility and resolve. So too, when your plans collapse, do not mistake failure for finality. Failure is merely a teacher in disguise, a hard tutor guiding you toward more resilient strategies. Discipline refuses the allure of surrender. It compels you to stand, brush off dust, and advance. Mindset is the forge where discipline is tempered. A mind convinced that self-control is optional is a fortress built on sand. You must believe that every moment of willpower exercised strengthens your mental fortress. Napoleon Hill studied titans of industry and found that they did not stumble into greatness. They disciplined themselves into it. They declared personal codes of conduct and adhered to them even when nobody watched. You must draft your code tonight, a covenant of integrity, action, and restraint. In the morning, honor it with unwavering fidelity. Clarity of purpose and unbreakable discipline form an unassailable duo. Clarity paints the target. Discipline pulls the bowstring. Without a precise aim, self-control becomes aimless. Willpower, like spinning wheels stuck in mud. But when you align each disciplined act with a vivid purpose, serving family, creating legacy, solving a problem, you generate momentum that transcends fatigue. Walt Disney, fired for lack of imagination, disciplined himself to sketch cartoons nightly, build characters on weekends, and pitch ideas relentlessly. His unwavering practice carved Disneyland from mere daydreams. Discipline also demands sacrifice. The seat of comfort is a velvet trap that muffles ambition. Those who embrace discomfort are the architects of their own greatness. Rise before the sun. Silence the sirens of distraction and feed your mind with ideas that kindle conviction. Risk the loneliness of early hours, the tedium of practice, the sting of criticism, because each sacrifice forges your will. As Edison tested 10,000 filaments, each discarded wire tightened his resolve and refined his understanding. His persistence was an act of self-discipline, so profound that it illuminated continents. Action without discipline is aimless energy. Discipline without action is hollow good intentions. The marriage of the two births. Achievement channel your regulated habits into bold execution. Write the first page of your book. Send the first proposal. Make the first sale. Speak the first word that scares you. Each act of courage seals the covenant between intention and reality, between thought and result. Momentum becomes your ally, inertia, your enemy. Remember, the universe rewards movement. The man who sits still waits for fate. The disciplined man writes his own fate, but even the strongest resolve can waver under relentless pressure. This is where adaptability entwines with discipline resilience. Patrick Swayze said, "Don't be afraid to make a mistake. The mistakes teach you." When your strategy falters, discipline refuses to break. It recalibrates, it learns faster, iterates smarter, and persists harder. The mind that adapts without abandoning principles becomes an unstoppable juggernaut. Iron sharpens iron. Trials sharpen the disciplined soul. Finally, gratitude fuels endurance. Recognize the gift of each disciplined choice. The clarity it brings, the progress it secures, the character it sculpts. Let gratitude for adversity's lessons and for small wins ignite your spirit. This is your secret weapon against burnout and doubt. The grateful heart transforms sacrifice into privilege, making discipline feel less like a burden and more like a privilege to participate in the forging of greatness. Your life is the canvas. Self-discipline is the brush. Will you paint with broad strokes of intention or errant splatters of impulse? The choice is yours. Harness unbreakable discipline and watch as your masterpiece emerges. Bold, enduring, triumphant. 3. Think like a millionaire. Act like one today. Your mind is a vault brimming with hidden capital, waiting for you to authorize a withdrawal. Imagine the first time Andrew Carnegie saw a steel mill. He didn't just see metal and machinery. He saw an empire waiting to rise. That vision didn't arrive by accident. It was cultivated in the soil of relentless expectation. If you wish to command wealth, you must first deposit in your mind the currency of possibility. Think like a millionaire, and your actions will follow like interest accumulates on principal. Every morning before the world pounds at your door with demands and distractions, declare your financial sovereignty. Speak to yourself, not in whispers of "I wish," but in declarations of "I will." Napoleon Hill didn't mince words. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. Those words echo in the corridors of every boardroom and every skyscraper lobby. Conception is your blueprint. Belief is your structural steel. Without both, aspiration collapses like a house without supports. Begin by crafting a mental ledger. Write down a precise net worth target, down to the dollar. Make it stretch you without breaking you. Then break it into quarterly goals, monthly checkpoints, daily, micro wins. Clarity is the antidote to aimlessness. Just as Edison tested filaments methodically, you must track each financial filament. Each sale made, each dollar saved, each relationship nurtured, and refine your approach with surgical precision. Without metrics, you navigate blind, but a ledger alone is dead math. It becomes living, breathing momentum when fueled by belief. Wealth is not a magnet that attracts merely money. It magnetizes opportunity, creative alliances, cumulative advantage. Think of Oprah Winfrey's ascent born into hardship. She believed her voice warranted a stage. That belief propelled her from local news to global influence. You cannot wait for circumstances to validate you. You must validate yourself in the mirror each morning. Affirm your value until the world echoes your conviction. Armed with thought and belief, you must adopt the posture of action. Millionaires are doers, not daydreamers. They leap when others hesitate and iterate when others stall. They know that risk is the tuition fee of success. Henry Ford mortgaged his home to build the Model T factory. He bet his comfort on a vision of affordable automobiles. He didn't play it safe. He played it smart. You too must calibrate risk with research, but never let fear of loss outweigh hunger for gain. Fortune favors the courageous action. Without discipline is a rudderless ship. Discipline without vision is a hamster wheel. Marry the two by creating financial rituals that become your rituals of excellence. Automate savings the moment you receive each paycheck. Pay yourself first. Schedule regular time to study market trends. Listen to thought leaders and refine your strategy. Block distractions like notifications, social media scrolls, trivial meetings. In that sanctum of focus, your mind becomes a high-performance engine calibrated for wealth creation. Your business relationships are your cohorts. In this expedition, millionaires surround themselves with people who raise the bar. Not set it low, Jim Rohn said. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Audit your circle. Are they skeptics who siphon optimism or visionaries who fuel your momentum? Cultivate alliances with mentors, collaborators, and peers who share your hunger. Their beliefs become contagious. Their successes become templates. Their networks become catalysts. In wealth creation, community is capital. Yet wealth is not merely accumulation, it is value delivered. Andrew Carnegie gave away most of his fortune because he understood that lasting wealth is measured by impact. What problem do you solve? What need do you fulfill? Align your pursuits with service so that profit is a byproduct of value. When Walt Disney introduced Mickey Mouse, he did more than entertain. He created shared joy, universal language, and lifelong fandom. Your venture must solve. Profit emerges when you serve. Adaptability transforms obstacles into stepping stones. When Nokia missed the smartphone wave, they faltered. When Netflix pivoted from DVDs to streaming, they conquered new worlds. The millionaire mindset scans the horizon for change. Regulatory shifts, emerging technologies, cultural tides, and adapts before disruption becomes defeat. Train your curiosity daily. Consume divergent perspectives. Ask what if and follow the thread wherever it leads. In a world remade overnight, adaptability is your hedge against obsolescence. Resilience is the tempering fire of ambition. J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection. Her worth was invisible to publishers until she refused to relent. Each no sharpened her resolve until yes became inevitable. You will stumble, and sometimes you will fall. Fall forward. Learn the lessons coded in each setback. Document your missteps and dissect them with brutal honesty. Then recalibrate and charge again, because every setback compounds your expertise and fortifies your confidence. Gratitude is the compass that keeps your drive anchored to humility. Greet each milestone, each sale, each saved milestone, each partnership with authentic appreciation. Gratitude rewires your brain to see abundance rather than scarcity, camaraderie rather than competition. When you invest with a thankful spirit, you attract more resources. Not merely dollars, but goodwill, referrals, and shared endeavors that amplify your reaches. Continuous learning is the perpetual fuel of success. The average millionaire reads 12 books a year. The top 1% read twice. That books are time machines carrying you to boardrooms, laboratories, and think tanks. You cannot physically enter. Podcasts, courses, and conferences are compasses guiding you through uncharted market expanses. Dedicate 30 minutes daily to study. Let each insight refine your strategies, your messaging, your product, and your mindset until you operate at the frontier of possibility. As your mind matures with wealth thinking, you must also protect your fortune. Prudence is not paralyzing fear, but calculated preservation. Diversify your investments like you diversify your skills. Keep a reserve for storms, market dips, personal emergencies, unplanned opportunities. A millionaire is neither reckless nor timid. They are alert and prepared. They build moats of liquidity and insurance, ensuring that when life shakes the tree, their financial roots hold firm. Finally, cascade your wealth mindset into legacy. True fortune outlives your years if invested in families, communities, and missions. The greatest fortunes echo through generations because they are accompanied by wisdom, values, and stewardship. Mentor an emerging entrepreneur. Fund a scholarship. Launch a social enterprise. Leave a footpath of opportunity so others may follow. In doing so, your wealth becomes immortal. To think like a millionaire and act like one. Today you must integrate mindset belief, clarity, vision, purpose, discipline, action, gratitude, adaptability, resilience, learning, prudence, and legacy into a single, unbreakable covenant with yourself. Visualize the moment when your bank statement ceases to be a ledger of numbers and becomes a testament to your resolve. That moment is not distant. It is the culmination of choices made today, each one a deposit into the vault of your destiny. What will you invest right now? Will you reaffirm belief? Draft your financial covenant? Cultivate discipline? Take that risk or study that insight? The path is clear. Think like a millionaire, act like one today, and the world will refine your ideas into impact. You have the currency of possibilities in your mind. It's time to spend it wisely. 4. Why most people fail and how winners rise. Failure is not the dark alley at the end of ambition. Failure is the street lamp illuminating the path that winners travel. Open your eyes to the truth. Most people fail, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they fear failure more than they desire success. They build walls of what-ifs around their dreams and then mistake those walls for protection. Meanwhile, winners charge headlong into uncertainty, embrace setbacks as tuition, and rise on the wreckage of their past defeats. Picture the Wright brothers spending years in sand dunes, planes crashing, ridicule soaring, yet they refused to be defined by broken wings. Every crash taught them airflow balance control. They didn't view failure as final. They saw it as feedback etched in sweat and splinters. Failure whispered, "Try again," and they obeyed. Winners decode failure's message. The rest hear only echoes of doubt. Why do most people recoil at the first stumble? Because they lack the mindset that reframes obstacles as opportunities. They see disappointment as a verdict on their worth rather than a question demanding a bolder answer. You must cultivate a winner's mindset by conditioning your thoughts. Every no is a redirection. Every not yet is a promise. Train your inner dialogue to search for solutions, not excuses. When you fall, say, "What can I learn?" instead of "Why me?" Belief is the alchemy that transmutes failure into fuel. Napoleon Hill found that conviction-powered resilience outlasts even the fiercest storms of doubt. When J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection, her belief that Hogwarts must exist propelled her pen across the final pages. She refused to let publishers dictate her destiny. You must stoke belief daily through affirmations, through study of triumphant narratives, through immersion in vision boards that electrify your ambition. Clarity of purpose turns wandering effort into targeted persistence. Most people fail because they wander. Winners rise because they aim. Define your North Star with razor-sharp precision. What impact will you deliver? What value will you create? What legacy will you leave? Write it down in active verbs. Empower, innovate, elevate, then revisit it. At dawn and under the moon. Clarity aligns belief with action, focusing your energy like a laser on the heart of success. Vision stretches your present into tomorrow's promise. Henry Ford saw a motor car for every family when roads were churned mud. Walt Disney envisioned laughter in color. Before color televisions existed. Vision magnetizes resources, people. Capital timing, because others sense your certainty and flock to collaborate. Paint your vision daily with visceral detail. The conversations you'll have, the problems you'll solve, the celebrations you'll host. Let that vivid mental movie pull you through every moment of uncertainty. Purpose is the engine that drives persistence. Without purpose, victory taste is hollow. Without fuel, the engine stalls at the first hill. Rosa Parks sat because purpose demanded it. Steve Jobs returned to Apple with purpose, burning brighter than public opinion. Your purpose need not shatter records. It need only ignite passion. Serve your community. Uplift your family. Cure a problem that gnaws at humanity. Purpose transforms tasks into missions, and missions endure beyond fleeting motivation. Discipline is the scaffolding that holds purpose aloft when passion flickers. Winners rise because they practice self-mastery day in and day out. They wake before sunrise, resist the ping of distractions, honor their commitments even when unseen. They track progress with military precision, celebrating consistency over sporadic heroics. When fatigue whispers quit, discipline replies, "Not today." Each micro-victory strengthens your resolve until self-discipline becomes as unbreakable as carbon steel. Action is the bridge between dreams and reality. Too many theories die in notebooks. Winners are architects who build. They prototype their ideas, launch minimum viable products, pitch imperfect proposals. They know that feedback refines, not perfection. Elon Musk launched rockets that exploded to teach SpaceX how to succeed. He bet billions on failure because he believed in flight. You must act now. Write the first chapter. Make the first call. Invest the first dollar. Learn from every result. Gratitude is the compass that keeps your spirit aligned with abundance. Winners rise not by ignoring hardships, but by acknowledging every gift, opportunity, insight, support, and converting them into gratitude-fueled momentum. Gratitude rewires the brain for opportunity, feeding neurons that seek solutions rather than problems. When you embrace gratitude, failure loses its sting. Every setback becomes a stepping stone etched with lesson and growth. Adaptability turns disruption into advantage. Nokia fell because they clung to old models. Netflix soared by pivoting from DVDs to streaming. Winners anticipate change and evolve their strategies. They stay curious, reading beyond their sector, exploring technologies before they mainstream, cultivating networks in diverse fields. In a world that reinvents itself overnight, adaptability is your greatest hedge. Stay fluid, like water carving canyons. Rigidity shatters under pressure. Resilience is the muscle that flexes when the strain is greatest. Winners condition their resilience by facing small challenges. Daily. Cold showers, public speaking, difficult conversations, so that when a tsunami hits, they bend but do not break. They journal setbacks, extract insights, and then press on with recalibrated tactics. Each recovered loss is a medal of experience, proof that you can endure and that you will endure. Learning is the perpetual engine that outruns complacency. Winners read voraciously, history's playbooks, industry forecasts, biographies of giants, because wisdom accumulates like compound interest. They enroll in courses, attend conferences, and seek mentors who stretch their understanding. Every insight sharpens their strategies, broadens their horizons, and inoculates them against obsolescence. Learning fuels innovation. Stagnation invites obsolescence. Finally, winners rise because they commit to legacy, not just victory. They channel their triumphs into mentorship, philanthropy, and creation of platforms that elevate others. Andrew Carnegie built libraries. Oprah Winfrey built educational centers. Bill Gates built health initiatives. Their legacies extend beyond balance sheets into lives changed. Your rise is not complete until you lift others with you, because true success multiplies when shared. Failure is not your adversary. It is your ally in disguise. It tests your mindset, refines your belief, sharpens your clarity, expands your vision, fuels your purpose, solidifies your discipline, compels your action, deepens your gratitude, owns your adaptability, forges your resilience, and energizes your learning. Winners rise by embracing each failure as a necessary step on the summit's trail. What will you do today when you stumble? Will you let fear erect walls, or will you let failure carve stairs? Winners hear failure's call and ascend. Will you answer? 5. Visualize victory, then make it inevitable. Close your eyes and see it. The roar of the crowd, the ribbon snapping as you cross the finish line, the sunlight glinting off polished metal in your hand. That vision is not fantasy. It is the blueprint of your future reality. Your mind cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experience and lived experience. It responds to conviction, not chronology. When you visualize victory with such clarity that your heart races and your spirit soars, you mobilize every fiber of your being to reconstruct the tangible world in its image. Imagine Abraham Lincoln pacing his cabin floor haunted by the Civil War's carnage. In the depths of his despair, he held a mental seance of America united. No bullet holes in the Union flag. No mourning widows in every hamlet. So vivid was his vision that he spoke as though the war were already won. That vision steeled his resolve, guided his policies, and buoyed a nation. Today your mind craves the same clarity. See triumph first, then channel it across every thought, word, and deed. Begin by pausing in stillness each morning. Close your eyes. Inhale deeply, and project yourself weeks, months, or even years ahead. Holding the accolade, signing the contract. Feeling the embrace of achievement. Anchor that vision with sensory detail. The scent of fresh ink on the certificate. The echo of applause in the hall. The weight of accomplishment settling in your chest. Hold it until disbelief melts and unshakable certainty remains. That practice not only imprints your subconscious, but primes your physiology for action. Cortisol drops, dopamine rises, and creativity surges. Mindset is the fertile soil where vision takes root. A scattered mind is like seeds cast on barren rock. Nothing grows. Winners channel vision through disciplined focus, turning every thought into a prayer for possibility. When Thomas Edison experimented with 10,000 filaments, he did not flinch at failure because he saw the incandescent glow in his mind's eye. He visualized light emerging from darkness until his lab was filled with it. You must cultivate that same obsession. Revisit your vision whenever doubt creeps in, until your mind vibrates with the frequency of success. Belief is the sun that nourishes vision. Without belief, visualization is a candle flickering in a storm. When Muhammad Ali stood in the ring, he did not just float like a butterfly, he spoke of his championship before a single punch landed. His belief was so concentrated that opponents felt it before the first bell. Today, pour unwavering conviction into your vision. Speak it out loud. Write it in the present tense. Let every syllable echo in your bloodstream until belief and vision become indistinguishable. Clarity sharpens vision into intention. Vague dreams are like fog on a mountaintop. You know you must ascend, but you cannot pick a path. Winners carve stairs from rock. Specify your victory in concrete terms. The amount in your bank account. The exact title on your business card. The date stamped on your calendar. When you know precisely what you aim to manifest, your mind organizes opportunities, recognizes patterns, and directs your focus to what truly matters. Clarity and visualization combine to transform aimless wish into targeted quest. Vision must then merge with purpose for a trophy, unmoored from meaning, rusts in the mind. Purpose is the engine that propels vision across the finish line. Rosa Parks visualized a world where dignity was not segregated, but her actions sprang from purpose, equality. Without purpose, your triumph signals nothing. With purpose, it reverberates through lives. Anchor your vision in service. The problem you solve, the life you elevate, the legacy you bequeath. When vision serves purpose, it becomes inevitable. Discipline forges the bridge between imagined victory and daily grind. A champion does not rest on vision alone. He rises at dawn when the world is still silent and hammers habits that sculpt prowess and character. He resists the lure of comfort, sacrifices fleeting pleasures and honors commitments even when motivation ebbs. When Serena Williams practiced serves in empty stadiums, she saw the future roar of center court. Every unglamorous drill was a tribute to that vision. Your rituals, journaling, exercise. Skill, refinement are the chisels, carving victory from raw potential. Action electrifies vision into momentum. The most powerful vision is inert without execution. William Boeing sketched aircraft designs, then bought parts, assembled prototypes in barns, and took flight when skies were untested. He did not wait for perfect conditions, he made them. You must audition for your destiny, daily. Send the email record, the pitch step onto the stage of fear. Each action, however small, is a brick laid on the path of inevitability. Action compounds. Momentum feeds itself until hesitation is impossible. Gratitude is the lubricant that prevents friction between vision and reality. Recognize every micro-win, each email sent, each connection made, each insight gained, and celebrate it. Gratitude lowers stress hormones, fuels motivation, and invites collaboration. When you feed your mind with appreciation, it magnifies progress instead of amplifying setbacks. Elizabeth Holmes once said that gratitude turned failures into lesson-laden milestones. Let each act of gratitude polish your vision, making it brighter and more attainable. Adaptability ensures your vision survives the storms of change. Alexander Graham Bell envisioned clear voice across continents. When telegraph wires faltered, he experimented with multiple designs. He pivoted until invention emerged. Today's world reshapes itself daily. Algorithms shift, markets pivot, trends evolve. Winners anticipate volatility and adjust course without abandoning vision. They absorb new data, iterate swiftly, and let flexible strategies serve unbreakable objectives. Adaptability transforms obstacles into rendezvous with opportunity. Resilience tempers the steel of vision under pressure. Vision can wither under unmet expectations. Resilience revives it. James Dyson built 126 prototypes of his vacuum before success. Each collapse could have extinguished his resolve, but he resurrected vision from debris. He visualized a cyclone of solutions until engineering aligned with imagination. You must harden your spirit by embracing challenge. Cold exposure, public challenges, self-imposed deadlines. These trials temper resilience so that when adversity strikes, your vision shines undimmed. Learning magnifies vision. Vision without knowledge is like aiming a cannon without understanding trajectories. Winners consume books, attend seminars, seek mentors, and dissect case studies, learning the patterns behind success. They practice wide reading, history's triumphs, industry's disruptors, psychological insights, constructing mental scaffolding that supports grand visions. Every lesson assimilated becomes a tool to refine, accelerate, or pivot your vision. Learning is the perpetual fuel that propels you faster toward the inevitable. Finally, victory becomes inevitable when your mind, heart, and hands coalesce into a unified force. Your vision no longer drifts on the horizon, it courses through your veins. Every thought, every word, every choice aligns with that singular picture of triumph. When the world tests you, contracts delayed, setbacks looming, critics snarling, you stand imperturbable because your mind has rehearsed victory 1,000 times. You don't just hope to win. You know you will. You visualize victory until it transcends possibility and becomes destiny. What will you see when you close your eyes tonight? A distant dream or an already accomplished feat? Choose vision. Cement it with belief. Sculpt it with clarity and purpose. Hammer it with discipline. Activate it with action. Nourish it with gratitude. Shape it with adaptability. Forge it with resilience. Illuminate it with learning. Then watch as the universe conspires to fulfill the image in your mind. Victory is not luck. It is the inevitable outcome of vision made concrete. 6. Break the chains of average, embrace greatness. You have lived too long as a silent passenger on the highway of mediocrity, lulled by the hum of complacency. Now it is time to snap the shackles and stand tall. Imagine average as a weight around your ankles. Each doubt, each excuse, each moment of half-hearted effort binds you to the earth. But greatness is flight. To embrace it, you must first decide that standing still is no longer an option. Declare now, I reject average, I claim my extraordinary. Your mind is the forge where chains are melted. Every thought of limitation pours molten iron, hardening barriers between you and your potential. The moment you recognize your capacity to choose thoughts, you hold the smelting rod. Replace I can't with how can I, and witness the barrier dissolve. Winners don't accept the narratives handed to them by fear. They rewrite the script with conviction. Your first act of rebellion is to master your mindset. Train it to seek possibilities where others see walls. Belief is the hammer that forges your new identity. Andrew Carnegie believed that every individual carried the spark of genius. His conviction fueled steel empires. When you believe in your innate greatness beyond your resume, beyond your circumstances, you ignite a blueprint for transformation. Speak your belief daily in first person. I am rising. I am capable. I am unstoppable. These words transcend idle optimism. They reset your brain's default from maybe someday to starting now. Clarity is the map guiding your escape. Average drifts. Greatness aims. Define your breakthrough in precise terms. The project you will complete, the revenue you will generate, the people you will impact. Then break that vision into milestones. Weekly targets, daily objectives, hourly intentions. Clarity turns abstract ambition into tactical assault. It transforms vague hope into measurable progress. As Ford charted mile markers on the Indianapolis Speedway to refine speed, so too must you chart your daily course toward greatness. Vision is the lighthouse on your journey. Winston Churchill saw Britain unbowed even as bombs shattered London skies. His vision rallied a nation. You must visualize, not just the goal but the path, your routine, your environment, your habits, until every detail feels inevitable. Picture your morning ritual. The look on your mentor's face as you share progress, the moment you leap beyond your comfort zone. This mental cinema primes your nervous system to move in alignment with your vision, making success feel preordained. Purpose is the engine behind your ascent. Without purpose, brilliance fizzles into burnout. Rosa Parks refused to surrender her seat, not for herself but for the dignity of millions. Her purpose amplified her courage into a movement. Ask yourself, whom do I serve? What problem do I solve? When purpose invests your ambition with meaning, sacrifice becomes privilege. Early mornings cease to be burdens when they serve your mission. Late nights become workshops of creation when driven by impact. Discipline is the scaffolding that holds purpose upright. Greatness demands consistency. The champion trains. When the world sleeps, resists the siren song of distraction and honors every promise made to self. Habit by habit. Discipline carves grooves in your character so deep that even doubt cannot reroute your trajectory. Create rituals that align with your values. Daily. Writing sprints, gratitude reflections, skill drills, and defend them fiercely. These rituals are the guardians at the gate of your potential. Action is the thunder that shakes complacency from its slumber. Theory without execution is a windstorm that moves nothing. Winners leap into experiments, launching imperfect products, pitching untested ideas, speaking with voices that tremble. Henry Ford didn't wait for perfect blueprints. He built horseless carriages in barns, learning with each prototype. Take your first imperfect step. Now, send that email record, that video pitch, that client. Every action chips away at doubt and cements your commitment. Gratitude is the compass that keeps your ascent aligned with abundance. The average mind fixates on scarcity. Scarce time, scarce talent, scarce resources. A grateful mind catalogs gifts, talents, mentors, opportunities, growing your sense of sufficiency. Gratitude lowers cortisol, sparks dopamine, and turns obstacles into lessons. Each morning list 3 victories, today's gift to yourself, and watch how gratitude shifts your lens from what's missing to what's overflowing. Adaptability is the surfboard on the waves of change. Kodak clung to film and sank. Netflix rode the streaming tide and soared. When your world reshapes itself, winners pivot without shame. They monitor trends, solicit feedback, and iterate until opportunity bows to their will. Cultivate curiosity, like a muscle exploring new disciplines, attending divergent conferences, engaging with contrarian voices. Flexibility, married to purpose, creates a nimble force that bends reality to your vision. Resilience is the temper that strengthens your steel. Greatness is not the absence of setbacks, but the mastery of recovery. When J.K. Rowling faced a dozen rejections, she could have folded her manuscript, but she rewrote herself as an author, destined for success. She visualized her book on shelves, heard children gasp at her words, and rose again. Become resilient by facing small storms, cold plunges, unfiltered feedback, challenging conversations, so that when a tempest arrives, you stand unshaken, vision blazing through the clouds. Learning is the jet fuel accelerating your climb. Winners devour books, dissect case studies, and apply every insight. They know that in every field, science, art, history, lies a lesson that transforms their own domain. Schedule 30 minutes daily to study giants from Edison's laboratories to Lincoln's war rooms. Let each lesson refine your methods, expand your creativity, and inoculate you against obsolescence. Knowledge not applied is an untapped reservoir. Applied knowledge propels you beyond average into greatness. Finally, greatness is a legacy, not a moment. It reverberates through communities, families, and generations. Carnegie didn't hoard steel. He built libraries that educated millions. Oprah didn't keep her platform for herself. She lifted voices worldwide. Your ascent must radiate outward. Mentor an emerging leader fund, a cause that sparks change. Share your journey with candor. When your victory enriches others, it becomes immortal, a beacon guiding those behind you. Break the chains of average by reshaping your mind, reforging your belief, clarifying your aim, envisioning your destiny, igniting your purpose, fortifying your discipline, launching relentless action, grounding yourself in gratitude, surfing waves of change, forging resilience, and harvesting wisdom through learning. Greatness is not a distant summit. It is the inevitable horizon for those who refuse to settle. Will you step off the treadmill of mediocrity and march toward mastery? The chains clatter at your feet. It is time to rise. 7. How to turn relentless focus into wealth. Your mind is a laser capable of slicing through obstacles or scattering into harmless sparks. Imagine focusing that beam on a single goal, every thought, every decision, every second bent toward building your fortune. That is the alchemy of relentless focus. It transmutes time, talent, and tenacity into tangible wealth beyond measure. In the early dawn of his career, Andrew Carnegie sat in a factory office, ignoring clattering machinery, eyes fixed on his ledger. While others skimmed wages, he counted potential railroads, steel tariffs, global demand. His mind dissolved distractions into data points, fueling every negotiation and every investment. Carnegie's wealth did not spring from idle ambition. It was sculpted by the steady chisel of undivided attention. Focus begins with mindset. A scattered mind is a garden overrun by weeds, worries, whims, notifications. Winners cultivate a mental greenhouse where only chosen seeds grow. Each morning, they guard their hours like treasure. They eliminate trivial decisions, the capsule wardrobe, the fixed meal plan, so their cognitive energy flows uninterrupted toward high-leverage tasks. Your first act audit your day. Identify 1 hour when focus will be absolute. Block it. Drown out noise. Defend it like a fortress. Belief cements focus into commitment. When Walt Disney sketched Mickey Mouse on a Saturday night, he did not merely draw. He believed that hand-drawn mice would one day entertain millions. That belief tethered his attention across bankruptcy, studio fires, and naysayers. You must anchor focus with conviction. Speak your goal in this present tense. I am building my wealth. Repeat it until doubt shrivels and belief floods your bloodstream, igniting every neuron with purpose. Clarity gives focus. Direction. Vague goals scatter energy. Precise targets attract it. Do you want passive income streams, equity stakes, or a 7-figure business? Define the amount, the timeline, and the vehicle. Write it in your own blood. I will generate $250,000 in annual passive income from real estate by Q4 next year. That exactitude activates your subconscious radar. Opportunities, connections, insights, aligning along that vector. Clarity with focus is the rocket's guidance system. Vision is the horizon that keeps focus tuned to distance. Nikola Tesla dreamed of wireless power beamed across continents when the world barely managed lit light bulbs. His focus was not on the flicker of the filament, but on the glow of global illumination. You must stretch your vision beyond immediate tasks, imagining the empire you build, teams, products, communities, lifted lives, transformed. That grand vista fuels daily concentration, transforming tedious hours into stepping stones toward your panoramic future. Purpose infuses focus with passion. Without purpose, focus is a sharpened blade without a target, efficient but aimless. Rosa Parks focused her mind on a single act of resistance because her purpose transcended her seat on a bus. It was about dignity, equality, liberation. When purpose fuses with focus, the mundane transforms into sacred ritual. Data analysis becomes a tool to uplift communities. Sales calls become invitations to solve problems. Bookkeeping becomes stewardship of an enterprise that changes lives. Discipline locks focus into routine. Jeff Bezos famously woke early, exercised, and read customer feedback before anyone else checked their email. He did this not because mornings are magical, but because ritualized focus wards off chaos. You too must forge your discipline. Designate time for strategy, for creation, for learning. Set non-negotiable commitments. The first 2 hours dedicated to revenue-generating activities, the next hour to skill enhancement. Ritualize them until they feel as natural as breathing. Action is the engine that powers focused intention. Theory without execution is a dead battery. Execution without theory is a blind sprint. Winners marry both. When Elon Musk envisioned reusable rockets, he did not merely post designs. He built prototypes, enlisted engineers, tested launches at launch pads. His attention to each detail, fuel mixtures, landing algorithms, heat shields, compounded into breakthroughs. You must operate with that duality. Maintain high-level strategy while refining granular tasks. Focus on execution as the currency of progress. Gratitude lubricates the gears of focus. The mind fixed on lack frays under pressure. The mind fixed on abundance thrives. Every evening list 3 breakthroughs, an insight gained, a client won, a cost reduced. Celebrate them as milestones on your wealth journey. Gratitude signals to your brain that you are on the right path, boosting dopamine, reinforcing focus, and inviting further success. Adaptability keeps focus resilient in a shifting landscape. Blockbuster fixed its gaze on DVDs. Netflix pivoted to streaming and thrived. Focused minds monitor external signals, market trends, technological leaps, consumer behaviors, and adjust strategies without losing sight of core goals. Build feedback loops, monthly reviews, peer advisory groups, real-time analytics. Let adaptability be the compass that recalibrates your focused efforts when winds change direction. Resilience preserves focus through setbacks. When IBM's first computer prototype failed, Thomas Watson Sr. reportedly said, "I think there is a world market for maybe 5 computers." Yet he persevered, refining designs until IBM became a computing colossus. Setbacks are the tests that separate fleeting focus from relentless focus. When deals collapse or metrics falter, ask not, "Why me?" but "How can I learn?" Then refocus on solutions, not problems, and rise stronger. Learning amplifies focus by supplying raw material. High achievers read voraciously. Warren Buffett reportedly spends 80% of his day reading. Each book, each report, each conversation is fuel for sharper strategies. Dedicate time to absorb cutting-edge knowledge. 2 hours weekly on industry innovations. 1 hour daily on leadership insights. Let learning feed your strategic focus, keeping you ahead of competitors and alert to nascent opportunities. Wealth blooms where focus flows. Compound interest is not merely financial, it is mental. Each moment of undivided attention to your wealth-building mission compounds into exponential growth. The person who focuses 1 hour per day on learning sales multiplies closing rates. The person who focuses on building assets sees passive streams rise. Focus is the currency of your results. Your mind is the architect of your fortune. Will you scatter energy like confetti or concentrate it like a laser? Each day offers 440 minutes. Choose how many you dedicate to wealth creation, then protect them ruthlessly. Turn off notifications. Craft an environment optimized for concentration, and defend your focus against every intruder. Wealth is inevitable when relentless focus meets unwavering action. Let your mind be dialed in. Your belief unshakable. Your clarity precise. Your vision vast. Your purpose noble. Your discipline ironclad. Your actions constant. Your gratitude genuine. Your adaptability swift. Your resilience hardened. And your learning insatiable. Then watch as your focused efforts crystallize into prosperity beyond imagination. 8. This is the truth about mindset and money. Your relationship with money begins long before your first paycheck. It begins in the theater of your mind, where every belief you hold about wealth scripts your financial destiny. Imagine two gardeners given identical plots of fertile earth. One plants seeds of scarcity, convinced the soil is hostile. The other plants seeds of abundance, expecting a harvest beyond measure. Which field thrives? The same is true within you. Your mindset is the soil. Money is the harvest. Tend your thoughts and riches will grow. Most people inherit fear of money. They learn that rich people are greedy, or that money doesn't grow on trees, or that you must work yourself to death to earn a living. Those stories bind them in chains. But consider Benjamin Franklin, born into modest means, who saw printing presses not as tools of toil, but as engines of influence and income. He rewrote the narrative. Wealth is not punishment. It is recognition of value created. This is the truth. Money is merely a mirror, reflecting how much value your mind conceives, believes, and delivers. Mindset is the lens through which you view every dollar. A fixed mindset says, I have enough or not enough, and that's the end of the story. A growth mindset asks, how can I expand my capacity to earn, invest, and innovate? When Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, he did not bemoan lack of funding. He believed in the promise of his idea and funded it through relentless experimentation, constant refinement, and strategic partnerships. He attracted investors not by begging for cash, but by offering a vision of universal illumination. Your mindset must be equally magnetic. Belief is the force that draws money toward you. Napoleon Hill captured it when he said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve." But belief alone is not vague wishful thinking. It is the conviction that every financial goal is valid and attainable. When Steve Jobs believed that personal computers would democratize technology, he sparked an industry. He didn't wait for permission from the establishment. He believed in his vision until others bought into it. Today, you must anchor your belief in tangible outcomes, the exact income figure you will achieve, the passive streams you will build, the impact you will manifest. Clarity transforms your vague financial dreams into precise targets. General desires. I want to make more money. Scatter energy. Specific goals. I will generate $100,000 in quarterly revenue through my consulting business. Focus attention. Focus. Clarity triggers your subconscious to scan for relevant opportunities. New clients, strategic partnerships, untapped markets. Andrew Carnegie mapped every opportunity in the steel industry. Railroads, ships, construction, and directed capital accordingly. You must do the same. Name your number, date, your deadline. Outline the channels you will deploy. Vision is the canvas upon which your financial aspirations take form. Henry Ford envisioned affordable automobiles in every driveway long before the Model T rolled off the line. His vision expanded the world's imagination of mobility and created unprecedented demand. Envision not only the number on your bank statement, but the life it affords. Freedom to innovate, Capacity to give stability for your loved ones. Painted in vivid detail, the home you'll own, the causes you'll fund, the legacy you'll leave. A vision that stirs emotion becomes an irresistible magnet for wealth. Purpose roots money in meaning. Wealth without purpose is a hollow victory lap. Consider John D. Rockefeller, whose Standard Oil fortune funded schools, churches, and public health initiatives. His purpose, advancing human welfare, elevated his wealth into a force for good. Ask yourself, why do you want money? To create comfort, to build a legacy, to serve others. When you ground your financial goals in a noble purpose, discipline becomes natural and sacrifice becomes virtuous. Wealth becomes a vehicle for impact, not merely an end. Discipline forges the bridge between mindset and money. It is waking before dawn to deepen your expertise, even when your bed begs you to stay. It is investing systematically, month after month, rather than chasing speculative gains. It is tracking every expense, optimizing every revenue source, and refusing to budge when short-term temptations whisper. Warren Buffett attributes his billions not to rare insights, but to a disciplined, patient approach. Buying quality businesses, holding for the long-term, compounding gains. Discipline is the muscle that sculpts your financial future. Action is the engine that turns mind into money. Theory without application is like seeds scattered on rock. No roots, no harvest. Walt Disney sketched Mickey Mouse on scraps of paper, then built cartoons, theme parks, and media empires that transformed entertainment. He didn't wait for perfect resources. He acted on his vision with whatever he had. You must launch your projects, pitch your offers, publish your content, and refine with feedback. Each calculated action compounds your momentum and brings financial reality ever closer. Gratitude multiplies wealth. A mind fixed on lack sees only scarcity, repelling opportunity. A mind tuned to gratitude notices abundance. New clients, fortuitous introductions. Unexpected insights and leverages them. Every evening list, 3 financial wins, a sale. A cost saved, a lesson learned. This practice rewires your neural pathways to perceive growth, creating a positive feedback loop that fuels both motivation and resourcefulness. Gratitude is the secret ingredient that transforms transactions into triumphs. Adaptability protects your wealth in changing times. Kodak clung to film and shuttered cameras. Netflix pivoted to streaming and conquered entertainment. Disruptive technologies and shifting markets are constants. Respond by pivoting your business model, diversifying income streams, and learning new skills. Elon Musk diversified from PayPal to Tesla to SpaceX because he recognized that adaptability multiplied his returns. Embrace change, not as a threat, but as a tide. You can surf toward new fortunes. Resilience ensures you stay the course when markets wobble and deals falter. J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection until her manuscript became the world's most loved fantasy saga. She powerfully visualized success and refused to let adversity dictate her narrative. Economic downturns, competitive threats, and personal setbacks will test your resolve. When they come, anchor yourself in your vision, lean on your discipline, recalibrate your strategy, and march forward with greater insight and grit. Resilience is the backbone of lasting prosperity. Learning supercharges your financial evolution. The richest minds never cease expanding their understanding, reading financial reports, dissecting investment theses, mastering emerging technologies. Bill Gates reads nonstop, absorbing insights that shape each of his next ventures. You too must commit to lifelong learning courses, books, mentorship, mastermind groups, so that every lesson propels your money mindset forward and informs smarter decisions. Knowledge is the catalyst that turns potential into profit. Money is neither hero nor villain. It is a tool, a measure, a mirror. It magnifies your mindset, amplifies your purpose, and scales your impact. The difference between someone who languishes in financial mediocrity and someone who thrives in abundance lies in the architecture of mindset and the engineering of habits. By cultivating a growth mindset, anchoring belief, sharpening clarity, envisioning grand possibilities, grounding purpose, enforcing discipline, taking relentless action, practicing gratitude, adapting swiftly, fortifying resilience, and learning constantly. You unlock the truth. Wealth is not a stroke of luck. It is the inevitable byproduct of a mind trained for prosperity. What truth about your own mindset will you confront today? Will you let fear script your financial story, or will you seize the author's pen and write a new narrative? One where abundance flows, value multiplies, and your legacy outshines your earnings. The soil of your mind awaits the seeds of thought you choose to plant. Nurture them wisely, and your orchard of wealth will bear fruit beyond imagination. Build in silence, reveal through triumph. Build in silence, and let your work shout for you. The world is a carnival of clamor. Social feeds buzzing, trophy photos flashing, hollow promises echoing. But true mastery is forged behind closed doors, far from the spotlight. Imagine a sculptor alone in a dark workshop. Chisel poised the statue, emerging in every silent stroke. He does not announce each strike. He trusts that when the final form stands, its perfection will speak louder than any herald's cry. Your journey to triumph requires the same hush construct. Your vision in secrecy, then unveil its splendor when it cannot be ignored. Begin in the quiet of your mind. Shut out the noise of comparison, the metrics of likes, the taunts of skeptics. Comparison is a parasite that drains your creative blood, feeding on insecurity. Instead, cultivate a mindset of inward focus. Concentrate on the minute progress of your craft. A paragraph perfected, a code refined, a melody tuned. With each private session, you lay brick upon brick in the edifice of excellence, far from the prying eyes of premature critics. Belief grows strongest in solitude. When Walt Disney pitched his first cartoon studio, he had neither accolades nor assets, only unshakable faith. In an empty room, he sketched characters that would someday fill theaters and theme parks. He whispered to himself, "This will awe the world." That whisper grew into an empire of wonder. You must nurture your conviction away from public spectacle, feeding it with affirmations, with reflective journaling, with mental rehearsals of success. In silence, your belief amplifies, untainted by the doubts of others. Clarity thrives in stillness. Your mind, uncluttered by chatter, perceives the true shape of your goals. Write down the contours of your triumph, the exact design you will launch the revenue. You will secure the problems you will solve. When Carnegie surveyed the steel market, he did so alone, poring over maps and reports until he could recite every tariff, every railway route, every competitor's weakness. That clarity empowered decisive action. Your clarity emerges when you carve out moments of uninterrupted thought, early mornings at dawn, late nights under a single lamp, until your vision blazes with precision. Vision in silence is magnetic. Tesla dreamed of a world lit by wireless towers. He held conferences for himself in his laboratory, pacing before blueprints and murmuring calculations. Though mocked by peers, he refined his vision in private until it resonated with investors and transformed industry. When you cultivate a vivid mental movie of your future success, complete with the textures, sounds, and emotions of triumph, you magnetize opportunities. Investors, collaborators, mentors are drawn to the gravity of your unseen conviction. Purpose anchors your silent build. Purpose is the pulse that keeps your heart beating when motivation flickers. Rosa Parks sat quietly, turning tragedy into a movement that reshaped history. She did not broadcast her intention. She embodied her purpose until her single act ignited a revolution. Your purpose must be deeper than personal gain, anchored in service, in change, in uplift. When purpose saturates your work, every solitary endeavor becomes sacred, a meditation on meaning rather than a mere hustle. Discipline is the guard at the gate of greatness. It whispers no to frivolous distractions, and yes to the toil that forges talent. The novelist who writes 1,000 words daily before dawn. The coder who solves one algorithm after dinner. The musician who practices scales in the hush of midnight. They all share a discipline born of solitude. These rituals, invisible to the world, accumulate into competence, so profound that occasional public displays of weakness cannot eclipse your consistent mastery. Action in silence is relentless. Edison tested thousands of filament materials behind privacy walls, only revealing his invention when failures had been perfected into brilliance. He did not parade partial successes. He unveiled an incandescent revolution. Likewise, execute your work in stealth launch beta versions to small trusted circles. Iterate until functionality and form converge. Then release your creation to the world where its quality and impact leave audiences astounded. Gratitude deepens your silent journey. Most seek applause. Few savor the gift of growth. Each night reflect on 3 private wins. An insight gained a challenge, overcome a discipline honored. Gratitude rewires your brain to perceive progress, even when external validation is absent. It impels you forward through the unseen trials, fueling your resolve with the quiet warmth of appreciation for lessons learned in solitude. Adaptability is your silent compass. Nokia's boardrooms echoed with hubris as smartphones rose. Netflix's CEOs met in hushed war rooms to plan a pivot from DVDs to streaming. They acted swiftly behind curtains, avoiding public scrutiny until they emerged victorious. You too must cultivate stealthy flexibility, monitor market tremors, test alternative paths in secure environments, and refine your strategies away from degrading headlines. Then unveil your pivot as a masterstroke rather than an anxious scramble. Resilience is your silent shield. Every unseen setback, code that fails, draft rejected, prototype broken, is an invitation to deepen endurance. The battlefield of your mind must be fortified by countless private victories over doubt. Journal your failures, not to lament, but to extract strategies for recovery. Each time you rebound alone, your resilience grows, preparing you for the moment you step into the light. At that instant, no shock or setback can knock you off course because you have weathered every storm in the quiet trenches. Learning is your silent catalyst. Winners devour knowledge away from the glare, books, lectures, mentorship calls, all absorbed in focused solitude. Bill Gates retreats to reading sanctuaries, emerging with fresh frameworks that shape Microsoft's future. Steve Jobs walked meditation paths to refine Apple's next breakthrough. Seek out places of quiet study, libraries, long drives, pre-dawn hours, where the hum of discovery drowns out superficial noise. In these sanctuaries, every insight becomes a secret weapon in your arsenal. When the time comes to reveal your triumph, the world will pause in awe. Your work, sharpened by silent mastery, will radiate authenticity and excellence. Spectators may not see the countless nights, the disciplined rituals, the private doubts conquered. They will only witness the masterpiece, and that revelation will speak louder than any proclamation you could ever make. So build in silence. Let your mind as a forge, your belief as a torch, your clarity as a compass, your vision as a magnet, your purpose as a pulse, your discipline as a sentinel, your action as thunder, your gratitude as warmth, your adaptability as a sail, your resilience as armor, and your learning as fuel. Then step forward, unveil your creation, and watch triumph announce your arrival. 10. Fuel your purpose, ignite your success. Your purpose is the spark buried deep within the coals of your potential, waiting to flare into an inferno that illuminates every corner of your existence. Imagine a single drop of oil falling into a lamp's wick, almost invisible, until it kindles a flame that conquers the darkness. That flame is purpose. Without it, even the grandest ambitions sputter into smoke. With it, you carry a torch that guides every choice, every action, every breath toward the summit of your success. Mindset is the chamber where purpose is refined into power. Too many drift through life like passengers in someone else's story, lulled by the comfort of unexamined routines. Winners awaken with purpose as their dawn chorus, silencing doubts and inertia. They condition their minds with declarations. My life is not idle. It is intentional. With each repetition, neural circuits rewire, transforming fleeting inspiration into unshakable conviction. In that crucible of thought, your purpose becomes the gravitational center of your universe. Belief is the oxygen that fans that flame. Napoleon Hill chronicled titans who believed in themselves when the world believed them unworthy. Walt Disney believed that mice and ducks could reshape entertainment. He endured bankruptcy and dismissal until his studios echoed with laughter worldwide. Belief is not a daydream, but a disciplined assertion. I deserve this purpose, and I will fulfill it. Speak it aloud. Inscribe it on your mirror. Let it drown out the static of doubt until every cell in your body vibrates with certainty. Clarity refines belief into a precise compass. Purpose remains a flicker until you sharpen its outline. Do you serve by uplifting others through coaching? By pioneering technologies that heal? By crafting art that stirs souls? Define your purpose in active verbs and vivid imagery. I will empower entrepreneurs to build ethical empires, or I will invent tools that extend life expectancy. When clarity strikes your purpose, transforms from abstract ideal to actionable mission, guiding your steps with pinpoint accuracy. Vision takes that mission and projects it into tomorrow's landscape. Lincoln envisioned a united nation amid the cannon's roar. He saw the restoration of the Union before Gettysburg. Your vision must be equally bold. Picture the lives you will touch, the innovations you will unveil, the communities you will uplift. Write your vision in cinematic scenes, closing ceremonies, problem-solved interviews, joyous celebrations. Replay those scenes until they feel lived in. Then your subconscious will rig reality to stage that premiere. Purpose alone, however, is a rocket unlaunched without discipline. Discipline is the ignition sequence that transforms intention into liftoff. It is rising before sunrise to refine your craft even when your bed whispers for you to stay. It is honoring commitments when no one is watching. Writing the 10th draft, rehearsing the 100th pitch, coding the 1,000th line. Discipline does not glimmer. It grinds. It fortifies your resolve so that at the threshold of temptation, you stand unshaken, tethered to purpose, like an anchor in a storm. Action is the thrust that carries your rocket into orbit. Knowledge, without execution, is a dormant engine. Consider Elon Musk, who sketched interplanetary travel in sketchpads and then tested reusable rockets until SpaceX crews cheered beneath their landings. He did not wait for perfect wind tunnels. He launched prototypes and learned in flight. You too must move decisively. Launch that course schedule, that consultation pitch, that investor. Each bold act feeds the momentum that propels you beyond gravity's pull. Gratitude is the fuel that prevents your flame from scorching your spirit. In the furnace of relentless purpose, you must pause to acknowledge every gift, an insightful mentor, a supportive partner, an encouraging email. Each expression of thanks lubricates the gears of progress, lowering stress, boosting dopamine, and attracting further abundance. Practice gratitude daily. 3 tokens of appreciation at dawn and dusk, and watch your purpose burn steadily rather than consuming you in its fervor. Adaptability is the gimbal that keeps your rocket pointed true. When atmospheric turbulence strikes, markets shift technologies, leap crises emerge. Kodak clung to film. Netflix pivoted to streaming and rewrote entertainment history. Winners anticipate the thermal loads on their mission and adjust their trajectory without abandoning purpose. They absorb new data, test alternative paths in secret chambers, and emerge with refined plans that keep the flame aloft. Resilience is the heat shield that protects your mission through re-entry. Every setback launch delays code failures. Partner walkouts is an inferno testing your resolve. Winners study failures, like engineers, inspect scorched tiles, searching for data, strengthening materials, redesigning for the next attempt. When adversity strikes, anchor in purpose, recalibrate strategy, and ignite persistence. Each resurgence scorches a pattern of triumph into your character. Learning is the iterative thruster that refines every stage of your journey. Warren Buffett reads an average of 500 pages daily. Each fact, each insight, each lesson accelerates his ascent. Winners feed their minds relentlessly through books, courses, mentors, and even competitors' playbooks. They integrate every idea into their mission. Blueprint, improving designs, strategies, and philosophies. Learning is the unending throttle that maintains velocity beyond initial launch. Purpose is the constellation that guides your entire trajectory. When the stars of doubt obscure your path, recall the core reason you ignited this flame, why your work matters, whom it serves, how it transforms lives. That memory is your North Star. Lean into it. When distractions try to yank your attentionscape, let it remind you that true success is not measured solely by trophies or bank balances, but by the lives you elevate and the legacy you leave. As your journey peaks, the final stage is the transfer of your flame to others. True fulfillment blazes when your purpose ignites purpose in those around you. Mentor an emerging leader, share your insights freely. Build platforms that amplify voices beyond your own. Carnegie's libraries, Jobs' devices, Jordan's camps. They all multiplied. Impact through distribution of flame. When you fuel others, your own torch burns brighter, illuminating horizons you never dreamed possible. Your purpose is that spark. Ignite it with mindset. Nourish it with belief. Sharpen it with clarity. Expand it with vision. Anchor it with discipline. Launch it with action. Sustain it with gratitude. Steer it with adaptability. Protect it with resilience. Accelerate it with learning, and share it through mentorship. That is how you transform a flicker into a conflagration that lights up the world, and your own destiny with it. 11. Master your habits. Master your destiny. Your habits are the invisible architects of your future. Each tiny choice, a brick laid on the foundation of your destiny. Imagine a blacksmith forging a sword. It's not one strike that shapes the blade, but thousands of deliberate hammer blows sizzling on the anvil. Likewise, every morning you choose discipline over ease. Every night, you select growth over comfort. You temper the steel of your character, master your habits, and you master your destiny. Mindset is the forge where habits are shaped. If you believe you are a creature of circumstances, your habits will reflect resignation. But believe you are the sculptor of your life, and every habit becomes a tool for creation. Thomas Edison didn't wait for inspiration. He cultivated the habit of inquiry testing, observing, refining until the light bulb glowed. He treated each failure as a hypothesis, disproven, not a verdict against him. Train your mind to see habits as experiments in excellence rather than chores in monotony. Belief fuels habit formation with unyielding energy. Napoleon Hill observed that those who conquer habits do so because they believe change is not only possible, but inevitable. When Serena Williams decided to dominate tennis, she didn't practice half-heartedly. She drilled volleys at dawn, footwork at dusk, conditioning on every off day. Her belief that she belonged at the top propelled those rituals into mission-critical rituals. Speak affirmations that reinforce your habits. I am the type who trains daily. I am the person who reads every morning. Belief turns repetition into identity. Clarity transforms abstract aspirations into concrete routines. Get healthier is a wish. Walk 10,000 steps before breakfast and track macros daily is a plan. Mark Twain said, "The secret of getting ahead is getting started." But to get started, you need a clear launch pad. Define one habit at a time. Start with your keystone habit, the one act that unlocks cascading momentum. It might be journaling gratitude each night or blocking your calendar for focused work each morning. Clarity hones focus so that habits become precise, arrows, not scattered, shots. Vision aligns habits with destiny. Abraham Lincoln emerged from obscurity because he cultivated habits of reading law books by lamplight, speaking kindly to opponents, and rising above partisan rancor. He visualized a united nation, and his habits nudged him toward that reality. Visualize yourself living your habits. See the person who never snoozes the alarm, who writes 500 words daily, who chooses vegetables over processed food. That mental rehearsal primes your nervous system to enact the habit with conviction and consistency. Purpose anchors your habits in meaning. Habits practiced without purpose are empty shells destined to crack. Purpose infuses each ritual with fuel. Rosa Parks didn't simply refrain from giving up her seat. She embodied the purpose of dignity and justice, and that purpose turned one act into a milestone in history. Identify your why to serve your family, with health to build an empire of creativity to ignite transformation in your field. When purpose saturates your habits, even the smallest action resonates with significance. Discipline is the daily toll you pay for progress. Habits are never glamorous. They are the grind beneath greatness. The novelist who writes pages before email, the coder who debugs at midnight, the entrepreneur who cold calls while friends sleep. They practice discipline in the silent hours. These rituals compound. James Clear calls it the aggregation of marginal gains, improving by 1%. Each day yields extraordinary results. Commit to the discipline of your chosen habits, guarding them against every temptation that whispers later. Action is the heartbeat of habit. You cannot think yourself into new behaviors. You must do. Nike didn't invent the slogan, "Just do it," by accident. They knew that initiation crushes inertia. When you feel resistance, lean into the smallest possible action. 5 push-ups, 1 paragraph, 1 healthy snack. That act generates momentum. Momentum begets progress. Progress reaffirms identity. Before you know it, the habit has woven itself into the fabric of your life. Gratitude transforms habits into celebrations. Most see habits as drudgery, an obligation to endure. Instead, frame each ritual as a gift: the gym session that strengthens your body, the cold plunge that sharpens your mind, the reading session that expands your world. Each completion earns you a moment of genuine gratitude for your capacity to choose growth. That gratitude feeds dopamine, reinforcing neural pathways that make habits stick. Celebrate each small win wholeheartedly. Adaptability ensures your habits endure through change. Life's storms travel deadlines. Health setbacks threaten to derail routine. Winners design habits that are both specific and flexible. If you can't hit the gym, you commit to bodyweight exercises in your hotel room. If you miss morning writing, you schedule an evening session. These flexible frameworks guarantee continuation through upheaval. Treat habits as processes, not prescriptions, and adapt them to new contexts without losing momentum. Resilience protects your habits against relapse. Even the greatest warriors stumble on the battlefield. What matters is the recovery. The habit developer who skips one day feels the pull of too late to restart and sinks into old routines. Instead, cultivate resilience by embracing the never 2 in a row rule. If you miss one session, double down the next day. Document your slips, analyze the triggers, and fortify your defenses. Each comeback strengthens your resolve and solidifies the habit's place in your identity. Learning accelerates your habit mastery. Seek insights on behavior change. Read Atomic Habits. Study cognitive psychology. Learn from mentors who have mastered their own rituals. Experiment with strategies: habit stacking, temptation, bundling, environmental design. Track your progress with journaling or habit apps. Let data inform your refinement until your habits become effortless expressions of who you are. Remember, mastery is not innate. It is cultivated through deliberate practice, informed by wisdom. As these elements converge, mindset, belief, clarity, vision, purpose, discipline, action, gratitude, adaptability, resilience, learning your habits coalesce into a single force, shaping your destiny. You will no longer be at the mercy of fleeting motivation or external circumstances. Instead, your habits will carry you with the steady certainty of seasons changing each day's ritual, nudging you closer to the person you aspire to become. Your destiny is not a fated endpoint. It is the natural byproduct of the daily choices you make. Master your habits, and you will master your destiny. The hammer blows on the anvil of consistency. Forge the sword of your character. Will you pick up the hammer today? 12. Rise. After every fall. Resilience is your superpower. Disaster is not your destiny. It is the anvil upon which resilience forges you into something unbreakable. Imagine a boxer staggering under the weight of every blow, yet rising again each time, more determined, each time more resolute. In every fall lies the lesson that victory is not a single punch, but the ability to stand when the world tries to keep you down. Resilience is your superpower, your capacity to transform setbacks into springboards. Mindset is the crucible of resilience. Most people see failure as a final verdict, an inescapable sentence. But winners perceive failure as a comma, not a period, a pause that heralds further narrative. When Abraham Lincoln faced defeat in 7 successive elections, he did not retire from public life. He sharpened his resolve, honed his arguments, and eventually led a nation through its darkest hour. Your first act of resilience is to reframe falls as feedback. Each stumble reveals weaknesses to be strengthened. Belief is the fuel that rekindles your spirit after every collapse. In the throes of rejection, J.K. Rowling's conviction that her story mattered propelled her from despair to global phenomenon. She believed in Hogwarts when publishers did not. That same belief must animate you. Trust that your purpose transcends every setback. Speak to your heart. I am capable of renewal. I am worthy of success. Those affirmations rewire your brain's default from why bother to when will I rise next? Clarity guides your recovery. Without it, resilience degenerates into wandering hope. When Steve Jobs was ousted from Apple, the company he founded, he spent years exploring new ventures while refining his vision of user-centric design. That clarity drew him back to Apple's helm, where he unleashed the next revolution. Define what victory looks like after each fall. The project you will complete the target. You will hit the relationship you will rebuild. With clear objectives. Resilience becomes strategic, not accidental. Vision propels you beyond the present pain. Nikola Tesla endured financial ruin and public scorn. Yet he visualized a world electrified, powered by the currents of his mind. His vision sustained him through bankruptcies until his ideas ushered in the modern age. Likewise, hold a mental movie of your triumphant return. Hear the applause. Feel the weight of accomplishment. See the smiles of those you uplift. That vision compels you to rise over and over until the script of failure is rewritten into a saga of triumph. Purpose anchors your resolve when temptations lure you back into defeat. Rosa Parks's act of civil disobedience was not impulsive. It was a manifestation of her unwavering purpose for equality. Even as protests turned violent, she remained steadfast because her cause transcended personal peril. When your purpose burns brighter than pain, resilience becomes effortless. Distill your mission into a single phrase, I fight for, and repeat it whenever despair knocks at your door. Purpose is the lodestar that keeps you charting north, no matter how fierce the storm. Discipline builds the scaffolding on which resilience stands firm. Every rebound from failure demands consistent habits that reinforce strength. When Thomas Edison's laboratories exploded with failed prototypes, he persisted because he adhered to a ritual hypothesis. Test, refine. He treated each failed filament as a step forward. Adopt similar disciplines. Daily reflection on lessons learned. Scheduled. Skill drills that repair weak spots. Accountability partnerships that keep you honest. Discipline ensures your comeback is not a fluke, but the product of deliberate fortitude. Action is the engine of recovery. You cannot dwell in defeat and expect to rise. When Walt Disney faced bankruptcy, he did not lament the loss. He hired new artists, drafted fresh storyboards, and pitched optimistic investors. Action transformed his broken studio into an empire of enchantment. After every fall, identify one immediate step, no matter how small, to reclaim momentum. Write the next page. Launch the next prototype. Make the next call. Each action compounds, dissolving the inertia of setback and accelerating your ascent. Gratitude is the secret lubricant of resilience. A mind that fixates on loss becomes a prison. A mind that acknowledges the gifts within hardship becomes a garden. After his shipwrecked voyages, Winston Churchill reflected on survival rather than drowning. That gratitude restored his spirit. Each night, list lessons gleaned strengths, discovered alliances forged through adversity. Gratitude, rewires your neural pathways to see abundance, converting each fall into an opportunity for growth rather than a source of bitterness. Adaptability turns resilience into innovation. Nokia's myopia doomed their dominance. Netflix's pivot from DVDs to streaming redefined entertainment. When circumstances shift, winners adjust strategies without abandoning their core values. After every misstep, ask, what does this landscape now demand? Then prototype new approaches in low-risk settings, mock presentations, beta tests, trial campaigns, until you find the path forward. Adaptability ensures that resilience is not merely bouncing back, but bending until you find a better way onward. Resilience thrives on community. Even the loneliest warriors have forged alliances. When Nelson Mandela emerged from prison, he credited his survival to letters from his comrades and the solidarity of his people. Your network is both shield and springboard: mentors who offer perspective, peers who share their own comebacks, friends who remind you of your value. Cultivate relationships that reinforce resilience by encouraging honesty, empathy, and mutual accountability. When you rise together, the weight of every fall grows lighter. Learning is the engine that powers successive rises. Every setback unloads data: what failed, why it failed, and how to prevent recurrence. Yet most ignore this treasure trove, repeating mistakes until resignation takes hold. Winners harvest insights with precision. They analyze case studies, journal their observations, seek feedback, and incorporate findings into new strategies. Treat each fall as a classroom. Let every lesson inform your next approach. In this cycle of failure, analysis and iteration, mastery emerges. Resilience is the culmination of these elements: mindset, belief, clarity, vision, purpose, discipline, action, gratitude, adaptability, community, and learning, interwoven into a tapestry of strength. When these threads unite, every fall becomes a catalyst for elevation. Every obstacle, a rung on your ladder to greatness. You will no longer be bound by the fear of failure, because you understand that falling is part of the ascent, not its end. Stand now on the battlefield of your past defeats. The ground is littered with the spent shells of your old fears. Rise from that field unbowed, wearing scars as medals and lessons as armor. Declare to yourself, each fall fuels my rise. Resilience is my superpower. Then step forward, unwavering toward your destiny, knowing that no force in the universe can stop a spirit that refuses to stay down. Success doesn't come from a single monumental leap, but from planting seeds of intention, small, deliberate habits repeated daily until they become second nature. When you choose to wake up 15 minutes earlier each morning, it may seem insignificant, but that extra time allows you to claim the beginning of your day, set clear priorities, and build momentum before distractions arise. Opting for water instead of a sugary latte may feel minor in the moment, but that consistent investment in your health compounds into lasting vitality and sustained vigor every day. Every choice you make, no matter how small, carries weight. Skipping idle, scrolling to read an article about self-improvement, or taking the stairs instead of the elevator, all reinforce a mindset of growth and self-discipline. There is no magic shortcut, no hidden hack beyond these simple intentional actions. You either choose to embrace them or you don't, and your future will be shaped accordingly. When temptation whispers to postpone, remember that every delay is a brick removed from your foundation of progress. The life you envision is not waiting for a dramatic transformation. It is waiting for cumulative steps taken with purpose. The moment you decide to own your habits, to honor every commitment, even those no one else witnesses, you reclaim control over your destiny. Your future self will reflect the sum of these small actions collectively, speaking louder than any grand promise ever could. Success is not a one-time triumph. It is an evolving masterpiece painted one precise stroke at a time.